Hola y bienvenido a otra lección. Okay, so in this class we are going to look at the verb gustar. The verb gustar is used to talk about likes as well as dislikes in Spanish. The first thing we want to look at is the difference between the verb gustar in English and Spanish. In English, we would simply say something like I like the pizza or he likes the apples. But in Spanish, the verb gustar is a bit different. We do not use the verb in a regular conjugated form such as yo gusto, tu gustas, él, ella gusta, etc. In fact, the verb gustar does not really mean to like, but it means to be pleasing. Therefore, you are only told to use the third person, or you're taught rather to use the third person singular and plural, which would be form gusta or gustan, together with the indirect object pronoun to express who likes the action. So these are the indirect object pronouns. We have me, so that basically means to me. But of course, in English, when we construct me gusta, when we construct that sentence, me gusta, it means I like, literally meaning that item is pleasing to me. So, not to be confused, let's get into the object pronouns. We'll look at the structure, and then from there, you would be able to see very clearly how it is used. We have te for you, le for him or her, usted, of course, nos for us, and then les for they or them. So the forms that we were going to look at would be gusta and gustan. Like I said, it's the third person. That would be singular and plural forms. Now, gusta is a singular form. It is used with singular verbs, for example, el chocolate, or actions or verbs such as leer. And gustan is reserved for plural nouns, which would be los libros. It is very important to note that when you are including the object, which would be the noun in this case, or the nouns, you need to use the articles, which would be el, la, los, and las. So the first rule, when listing multiple items, the only verb, or the verb rather, that you'll be using should be the one that is in agreement with the first object. So I'll repeat that in a different way. You will be choosing gusta or gustan depending on the first object or the noun that you are talking about. That will tell you if to use gusta or gustan. So for example, we have me gusta la pera y las manzanas. So here you are seeing that la pera is the first object. Therefore, we'll be using gusta. So in many instances, you would have learned that you use me gusta when it's one thing and me gustan when it's more than one. That is correct. But at this level, when you look at gusta, you have to pay attention to what comes after, because you're not just simply stating, I like the pen, or I like the books, or I like running. Sometimes you include other things within the sentence. So what we do here, we pay attention to what is in front of the verb, or what comes after the verb, immediately after that is. And because the first object that we are mentioning here would be pera, which is singular, we then use me gusta. So the last manzanas at the end does not really matter. So you may think that, okay, but it's two things, it's a pear and it's some apples. But no, not really. Grammatically speaking, we are to choose the form of the verb gustar that will agree with the first object right after it. So the other examples you're seeing, me gustan los mangos. Los was written there twice, ignore that. So me gustan los mangos y la manzana. And that again tells us why we are using me gustan, because los mangos comes at the start. Furthermore, no matter how many verbs or activities in form of verbs or actions that you list, it will always be gustar. So even though again you are talking about two or three or four actions, and of course actions must be in the infinitive form, you will be using gustar. For example, me gusta correr y trotar y saltar. So these are some activities you can pause, get these done, and then we'll go through the corrections. Okay, so for the first one, you have This would be me gusta el chocolate y los dulces. Number two, te gustan las uvas y la peña. Third, nos gusta leer y escribir poemas. Number four, le gustan los libros de misterio. Number five, les gusta la música clásica. Number six, me gusta nadar, caminar y bailar. And number seven, te gusta la pizza y los refrescos. So here again, gusta because it's el chocolate, gustan las uvas, gusta because it's an action, leer, gustan los libros, gusta la música, gusta for verbs, and then of course gusta for la pizza. Now let's look at clarifying something. Many times you would see the are in front of this construction. And the reason why we use this is because one, we want to emphasize who is liking the action, as well as to clarify who is liking the action. So lay and lace are generally confusing because lay can refer to he or she, as well as lace can refer to them or they or you all. So if I were to say le gusta nadar, you will not outright or you will not know if it's he or she. At the first instance, you will not know who I am referring to, right? You will not know if it's a boy or a girl. So in such case, we would then use the a to distinguish or to add. For example, a me, or as I was talking about le, let's use an example there. So a Juan le gusta nadar. So now because I said a Juan, you now know that it's a boy, it's Juan. Even if you don't know the person's name, you can use a él to tell us that it's a boy. And similarly, a ella, for her or she, a ella le gusta nadar. She likes to swim. So we have a me and a ti, and these are special forms because you don't say a yo and a tu. But for the other prepositional pronouns, you would see things like a él, a ella, a nosotros, and a ellos, a ellas, a ustedes. So you can use the subject pronouns for the rest, but for the a me and a ti, or the yo and the tu forms, these are what we use, a me and a ti. Of course, if you're using the person's name, you would use a in front. So with singular names, we use a. For example, a Juan le gusta el café. And of course, a mi mama le gusta cocinar, as you're seeing here. Now, important logic. If you are talking about two persons in a sentence, you need to put the a, so you have to repeat the a in front of each person in this listing. For example, a Ana y a Luis les gusta el cine. So you will not simply say a Ana y Luis. It's a Ana y a Luis les gusta el cine. So let's look at this activity. Again, you can pause and complete this activity, then we will do the correction. Right. So the first one is a mí me gusta el helado. Number two, a ti te gusta viajar. Number three, a María le gusta el arte. Number four, a nosotros nos gusta el verano. A Carlos y a Sofía les gusta el béisbol. So again, a mí me gusta el helado, a ti te gusta viajar, a María le gusta el arte, a nosotros nos gusta el verano y a Carlos y a Sofía les gusta el béisbol. Okay, guys, so this is a review of the verb gustar. Just remember that gustar is used only in the third person, singular and plural, gusta and gustan, and you must use the indirect object pronouns me, te, le, nos, and les that will tell us who actually likes the object or who this object is pleasing to. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Adios.